Hello,
Sheru.
my friend. How are you?
I am doing great. We finally got on.
I finally catch you, man. How you been, buddy?
How are you doing?
I'm good, my friend. Long time no see.
I
How are you
know,
keeping
I
up
know.
with Corona?
You know what? In the county that I live, it's not as, I don't live inside of the city. So
Yeah.
we live on the outskirts. So, I mean, the gyms is open back up here. People are
Okay.
back working again. The city of Atlanta is still a little bit slow and opening back up, but I don't know anyway. So we take better care of ourselves as far as keeping our immune system strong and exercising, which that is one of the biggest keys to staying healthy and avoiding underlying symptoms anyway.
Of course, of course. Well, it's a first time public interaction, you and myself, and there's a lot of people from India who is joining us. And my business partner, Manish Gandhi, he said hello to you as well. And all our crew from India is pretty late here, but everyone is waiting to get 8-time Mr. Olympia interaction, Lee Haney, the legend. Tell me one simple thing. How great it is to be 8-time Mr. Olympia. I see on the back side 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 trophies, 8 sandals of Mr. Olympia.
Yeah.
How does it feel every morning when you wake up? Yeah,
I tell you what, man. There it go there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. But
How does it feel every morning when you wake up? How does it feel to be 8-time Mr. Olympia?
Well, you know what, man? It's been truly a blessing, to have 8 Mr. Olympias. I mean, who can fathom that? I mean, to have one is a miracle in itself, but to have 8, I feel truly blessed having achieved that. But I know that it took a lot of people to make Lee Haney. I had a lot of support over the years, so I'm humbled by being able to achieve such a goal. And I do my very best and showing love to the fans and saying thank you guys for being there, because fans is what make up Mr. Olympia. We can't make ourselves.
Of course, man. But also your hard work, dedication, and you were in the era when bodybuilding was at the peak, And tell me one thing. Did you ever step on stage with Arnold? Because last time he competed, he won Olympia was 81 or 83, and you won from 84 to 91, correct?
Yes, that's correct. I think Arnold's last competition was in 1981.
Okay, 81. Okay.
And I won and that's when he came back. He had retired and came back when he was doing the movie Conan.
Oh, yeah. Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah, and that's when he won the 7th one. I won the IFBB World Championship in 1982, along with the NPC National. So I pretty much got started. My first Olympia was in 1983, and I won the first one in 1984. So I was still wearing diapers when Arnold was competing.
Oh, yeah.
So no, we never stepped on stage.
Okay. I was just going through the past history and couldn't find it. But I remember myself, growing up, always saw you in magazine, never thought one day we'll be interacting with the legend, on a public platform. But I spoke to Richard also, and we are very excited to have you in India sometime very soon in our expo post, Corona thing is over. Can you tell me a little bit about, your journey in regards to post 8-time Mr. Olympia, how it's been, and currently I know you just launched a book as well. Can you tell us a little bit about your new book? And
yes, in my new book, matter of fact, here it is, Totally Awesome.
Okay.
I wrote this book, Sheru, in 1984.
Okay.
Right after winning the first Mr. Olympia competition, 1984. And I republished the book a second time in 1990. So this is the 3rd time. And I repeated this book for the 3rd time because the information that I have in the book is the very information that allowed me to win the NPC Nationals, the IFBB World Championship, and the Mr. Olympia 8 years in a row. There's nothing changed about my training. nothing.
Yeah.
You know, I'm 60 at the age of 60 years old. Now I say 60 years young.
Yeah,
And I
of
have
course.
no joint problems. You know, so the training system I followed all of my years. And so I talk about these systems here because in order to be great in the sport, you have to have knowledge. You got to have wisdom. And
Of course.
Totally Awesome and Lee Haney was created by the wisdom handed down by people like Robbie Robinson,
Oh yeah. Legend.
Roy Callender, Abba
Yeah.
Beckles, you know, Muhammad
Yeah.
McCalloway, you know, Samir,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
Arnold, all of the people that were part of my journey, I've got a piece of them inside of my book. So what allowed me to be the Mr. Olympia, and I say Mr. Olympia in the way that the small tapering waist, the broad shoulders, the polish and finished physique, the separation of the muscle, the vacuum, all of that taper was a part of the science that I received from the legend in the sport of bodybuilding. That's what this book is all about. So I want to see this next generation of young athletes get the right information because there's so many things on the internet. You hear people say, well, there's no such thing as overtraining. Yes, there is a such thing as overtraining. That's why you have to use certain training systems. I talk about 3 different training systems and when to use them. I talk about carb loading, carb depleting. I talk about preparation in the way of learning what to do in the way of manipulating carbohydrates and proteins. I talk about training principles. All of this stuff is real important, how to match body parts together. You know, so I have no joint problems, no hip, no knee, no shoulders, none of that, and no operations from bad training. You know, I can still run and jump and do all of those things that athletes do because of understanding the science. Science makes all the difference in the longevity in the sport of bodybuilding. And that's what it's all about. So reading, learning, and taking in information, all of that has helped me throughout my entire life. But the other part too, Sheru, is being a real person, a whole person. You know, I've been married now for 37 years to the same beautiful girl that was my 2nd grade sweetheart. When she was 7 years old, I was in love with her. So we're still married today. I was the first Mr. Olympia to have children while I competed. And the picture of that was a total person. I didn't think that I had to hold my breath or put my life on hold while I was achieving my goal. No, you don't have to do that. In order to live, you have to live. And I've lived. And I've had a wonderful time. And I've been successful. I wouldn't change a thing about my journey. I would not change a thing about it.
No. Also, you know, that's so nice to know, you know, you totally awesome family man, a complete person, you know, a God-gifted personality in terms of, you know, great genetics. I heard you are you know, a very good family man from many different people as well in the industry. So, you know, God bless you and your family, my friend. It's very good to know that. Also, Lee, I heard you are very big into natural, you know, supplements or the similar concept we have in India, we call Ayurveda, you know, which is natural herbs and roots.
Oh,
and now there's a new technology is coming in regards to the, you know, supplementation where you use natural herbs and less synthetic ingredients. What's your take on that? And I heard that your knowledge is pretty deep and immense. Would you like to share some, you know, important thing with the younger generation, how important it was, and how does it help in your career while you were competing and, you know, for Mr. Olympia? Not one time, winning 8 times, you know?
I tell you what, I've been a big component of using herbal products forever. Matter of fact, Sheru, years ago, when I was living there in California, I came up with a product that consisted of Damiano, wild yam, sarsaparilla, and a couple other ingredients to create a natural type of testosterone for bodybuilding science. And that was the first one on the market. Matter of fact, it also has Smile-Likes in it. You spray it under the tongue. You shake it, and the little sprayer go under the tongue. It was very, very, very good. But
Wow.
at the time, I was under contract with Joe Weider.
So you couldn't.
And I tell you what happened.
Yeah.
And I'm going to share this. It's the truth.
Yeah.
I approached Joe Weider concerning creating this product and making it and putting it into the mass community, into the bodybuilding community. He said, well, I'm not quite interested in it. But guess what he did? He had one of his other scientists to go behind my back. Yes.
Wow.
And recreate the product. They came out with the Weider Golden something. So instead of it being done with Lee Haney, he did it himself. So that's one of the things. And guess what? I forgive him. He done a lot of other great things for me. And that was business, It's just business.
Yeah,
Sometimes it happens to business. I mean,
of course.
First come, first served. And whoever got the power to do those things, which during that era is only one game in town. I mean, what else you going to do? But anyway, I've always been a big fan of herbs. Matter of fact, just a few weeks ago, I went out into my yard and I dug up what is called dandelion root. Dandelion root is good for fighting high blood pressure, stabilizing blood sugar level, also detoxing the body. So I dug some wild plants up from my yard and I cleaned them off very well. Then I boiled them and I let them set for about 8 hours and use it as a tea. And so these things have been around from day one. God has created them from day one. He put medicine here already. Then you talk about other herbs like milk thistle, burdock root, red clover. You talk about senna. You talk about all of these different things that are already there. Ginger, echinacea, golden seal, elderberry. A lot of these things I'm using even now to keep my immune system strong with this coronavirus. So if people stay on top of things like that, keeping the system strong, it can make a huge difference in how they feel, how they look, and how long they live. I also was the first one to create a systemic cleansing and detox program for the bodybuilding community. Nobody else has ever did that. Ronnie Coleman has used my detox. Branch Warren has used my detox. It's being sold all over the United States. So it cleans the liver, the bloodstream, the urinary system, and the colon. So I learned of that all the way back in 1982. I was detoxing even during that time because as a bodybuilder, we take in lots of protein, which is stressful on the liver and the kidney. So we need to have our bodies cleansed so often. Just like you take your car to the shop, you get the oil change, the filter change, you get the jets clean for better performance. Well, the body acts the same way. So detoxing has been one of the biggest things that I promoted in the world of bodybuilding with my product.
And we also know that you also have certification courses. Can you tell me about certification course, which Lee Haney certification course, which you guys are, promoting a lot these days?
Yes.
Plus,
matter of fact,
is there any way that the knowledge which you just shared in regards to natural herbs, is there any link to that certification also?
Yes, what I have, Sheru, I have two different parts of the certification. I have one called Ultimate Bodybuilding. That's bodybuilding science. And the book, Totally Awesome. This goes with the bodybuilding certification, along with downloads of training technique and so forth. It also talks about nutrition. You also take an exam. That's bodybuilding science. Then I have another certification that is called functional training. With functional training, there's a book I have called Fit at Any Age. And Fit at Any Age talks about age management, how to manage the age of your body through nutrition, through herbs, through understanding how to massage the training. See, what I do at this time in my career is not about heavy benches or heavy squats. I do what is called functional training. I use the ropes. I use the medicine balls. I do lighter dumbbells. I do kettlebell. It's a whole system. Once you understand the system of core, strength, cardio, and flexibility, that's a whole nother world of training. So what I do, I mix bodybuilding science and functional training. So I have 3 days I'll do bodybuilding science, 2 days I'll do functional training. But the certification program is the best ever. I created the only certification program ever to be created by an Olympian. Then I served as chairman to the President's Council on Physical Fitness and Sports under President Bill Clinton. So I'm the only one to have created a certification that have those kind of credentials. Credentials that's been there, done that. I find in most certifications, they have a big, thick book about this big. They're trying to turn you into a nurse or a doctor. Well, that ain't what you want to do. You want to be the best trainer, to give the best information, to be specific. My training manual and study guide is only like 50 pages. Then you have the books that you study. Then you have the video downloads that you take. Then you have the exams that you take. Then we've established master trainers in different parts of the United States, whereby they say, well, Mr. Haney, I can't make it to Atlanta with the workshop that you're doing. Well, I said, well, I want you to go see Charles Glass in California. Charles will do your walkthrough there. He's my master trainers there. Or you go see Mike Christian in Texas, or Vicky Gates in Texas. Those are master trainers there. So I have master trainers all over the United States. Now we got them in Canada, got them in Brazil. So I'm looking forward to getting up there in India.
Of course, man. I mean, right now, I spoke to Richard. We also have an academy with a dear friend of mine, and in fact, two of most knowledgeable person in India, Dr. Som Tugnaith. I would love to have interaction between him and yourself, and maybe down the line we can organize a webinar with our academy and yourself and your certification, which we will explore. I'll tell Richard to share whatever platform you guys have. So working out some deal, and so Indian people can take benefit of your knowledge. And few people ask me, is your book for sale online? You sell online as well? People who want to order it?
Yes. Matter of fact, if you go to leehaney.com.
leehaney.com, okay.
leehaney.com. You can get it through Kindle. You can get it through Barnes & Noble. You can get it through Amazon. So you can get it as a download.
Okay.
You can get
you
it
have
in
to
the
buy
download.
the actual book. You have to buy the actual copy.
Yeah, for an actual hard copy, you have to order from myself, and I will autograph it. So all hard copies will come from me. I've just shipped them. We just shipped some to Canada, Germany, Japan, China, Poland. We've been sending them all over the world.
One of the IFBB Pro League judge, Rita, her name is, and she's your big fan. I mean, she want to buy. I can see her messages. She's really excited, and she was, in fact, first Indian woman above 50-year-old to win an IFBB Pro card, and her journey been immense. And I would love to meet all these guys from India, and who have done. Another friend of mine, Guradesh Man, big up to him. He's also a coach. I mean, there are a lot of people who want to meet you, man, in India, and we are excited to have you. And in fact, you announced 14th of November is Lee Haney Games in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm gonna be there for sure. Can you tell us? Of course, I'm gonna be there, man. We're gonna have some tequila, even though I don't drink.
Hey, we'll detox when it's over, okay?
Yeah. Down your backyard, we're gonna hit some iron and then party in the night. Gonna enjoy your success, brother.
Thank you. And listen, I've been keeping my eye on you, man. You've been doing an incredible job in promoting the sport of boy. I mean, absolutely incredible. I love looking at your shows. I watch you on Instagram. And we'll look forward to being associated with you there in India.
Thank you, my friend. And same here. Viewers want to know. I want you to tell Indian viewers as well a little bit about Lee Haney Games. What's your vision? And I do know that you want to target different parts of the world, as well. So, what's your plan in time to come for Lee Haney Games, and what's going to happen in Atlanta on November 14th? Can you share a little bit?
Well, the Lee Haney Games are a very exciting event. Matter of fact, we use the event as a fundraiser. I have a mentoring program for kids. And
Okay.
your kids that's from 8 years old all the way up to 15, 18 years old, we
Yeah.
bring them up and we teach them artificial manhood skills, particularly for boys.
Yeah.
And once they reach a certain age, first they become a page, a squire, then they become a knight. So we actually knight them with an Excalibur sword. And then
Okay.
we were able to send them out in the world and change the world for good. So
Okay.
that's why the games were created. But we have physique. Of course, we have bodybuilding. We got classic physique. We got figure. We have fitness. We have the wellness division that happened this year. We have
Yeah.
bikini. We
Yeah.
have masters up to 70 years old. So we got something for everybody. And we count the Lee Haney Games as a production. It's first
Okay.
class. And hey,
Okay.
man, I opened my event with prayer. I ask God to bless the event, to bless our
Of course.
athletes, that they're kept safe, and we have a good time. It's a family event.
It's a very amazing initiative, man. God bless you, and I pray to God, to give you more and more success each year. Lee Haney Games should grow because your cause is very, very, very good. And in fact, likewise, you have seen in the Instagram, we are also growing.
Yes.
I met Richard in Colombia. Sheru Classic Colombia is also a very big event, and uh, you know, as we move across all over the world, we have seen the sport of bodybuilding growing. Can you share a little bit of experience back in 80s? I tell you, I share my experience with you. 2011, I announced, I'm very thankful to Jim Mannion for always supporting us. 2008, I met Jim, and 2010, we planned to bring IFBB Pro League to India. He gave approval. After 2 years of concrete planning, we established and launched Sheru Classic in India. And while we announced it before the competition was happening, you also know that, in fact, you were there. I'm not sure you were there or no, but University of Texas, there's Joe Weider's museum. I
Yes.
only met Joe Weider once, and it was during that launch. And Joe specially called me there, and he goes, "Oh, so you are Sheru?" I said, "Yeah," because I don't know anybody there. I'm like 31-year-old kid from India, promoter trying to do things, and I was shaking. Joe Weider called me, and he goes, "Sheru, listen, it was Ben's dream to take IFBB Pro League to Asia, because he said there wasn't any IFBB Pro show in India or Asia anywhere. So you are doing great job. I'm going to keep an eye on you." Now, going back to your era of bodybuilding, how you have seen the success and how important it was for Weider brothers to expand this great sport cross territory, across different continent. I know it went to Australia, but entering into Asia was a very big deal for them,
Yes.
which I heard from the conversation. Now you belong to the prime era of Weiders. What's your take on that? How important was for them this Asian territory, which we targeted?
Well, I tell you, it's been absolutely incredible, and I'm thrilled that the sport has now expanded, and it has someone like yourself, and you have the heart of the athletes at hand. That's very important, because Joe Weider loved bodybuilders.
Yeah.
Joe would actually have me in his office posing, practicing my posing for 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
Then after we finished, he'd take me to lunch, and man, it was, and it was at his advice when I was first coming out to California. He says to me, he said, "Lee, is there a young woman that you love, that you're crazy about?" And I said, yes, there is. He said, "Well, it's important for a man, particularly a young man, to have stability in his journey." He said, "So if you want to bring her, as I advise you to, I will make sure she have a job. I will make sure the two of you are being taken care of while you're here in California."
Wow.
That's
Wow.
Joe Weider. He was
Wow.
that kind of person, and he loved bodybuilding. Now, I later met Ben, but I spent time with Joe a lot, just
I
like
know.
Mr. Sperry did, just like I mean, Joe was the father of bodybuilding, period.
Of course, of course.
So his passion fueled bodybuilding. Ben was a diplomat. He loved traveling and shaking hands. And when you look at how many countries that Ben reached out and touched, how many hands he shook, how many airplanes trips he took, going from one country to the next to put together an IFBB is absolutely incredible.
Of course, of course.
And the world in which I come from, I was the first NPC national champion, the first.
Wow.
The very first. And
Wow.
before the NPC was there, bodybuilding was under what was called the Amateur Athletic Union. Okay. And the Amateur Athletic Union did not give bodybuilding a platform, not one of dignity. We were secondary to powerlifting. So when I was competing, you would have to wait all day long after the powerlifting meets are over before you can take the stage. Sometimes at 12 o'clock at night, you're standing on the stage at 12 o'clock sometimes the show wouldn't end to 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
So that's the way it was during that era until Jim Mangan, and I love Jim. He's my best buddy, one of my best friends. He met with Ben and Joe Weider and talked about his vision as to where he wanted to take bodybuilding. Because a lot of people don't know, Jim competed. He competed against and with Robbie Robinson. So he had the blood of the athletes already inside of him. So his love and passion, just as Joe Weider's was, is real. And so Jim gave bodybuilding its own personality, its own identity, and it separated it from the AAU. That's where we got started, with the support of Ben and Joe Weider. Mr. Jim Mangan was able to take the NPC and take bodybuilding to a whole nother level, one that we all enjoy around the world today. And there you are, Sheru, right there in India, man, making a huge impact. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to getting going
in my life also, I went through some turbulent time as well, and Jim Mannion was one person who always supported me. He holded my hand like a true godfather. People only talk like movies and all these big things they claim, but Jim Mannion is one person who don't say anything, who only deliver, and my heart and soul and big respect to him, man. And likewise, I said earlier also, there are very few people in this industry like yourself who are actually true legends, and I think there's a need for people like you to come India and explore and see what we are doing and spread this world full of positivity and love. And this great sport of bodybuilding should grow not only in India but across the world. And again, a very good friend of mine, Gurdesh Man, he just asked a question. Your views on Olympia being held in Las Vegas compared to different venues across the world before 1990s. How was how important was that, or did you enjoy that sort of tour? That 1 year Olympia is in Helsinki, one year it's in New York, next time it's in Germany. When the Olympia was moved to different countries, what's your take on that? You think it should be moved around, or it should held only in Vegas? What's your take on that?
Well, Sheru, Mr. Olympia is a worldwide international sport. Period. That's what's so beautiful about it. I have brothers in countries all over the world, and you're one of them. I got brothers in name a country: Germany, Switzerland, Sweden, Japan. I've gone to over 30 different countries to shake hands and meet fans. So I had a chance to compete in Italy. I had a chance to compete in Germany. I had a chance to compete in Belgium. I had a chance to compete in Sweden. And so I've been to all of these different countries. I strongly feel that it needs to happen again. That's if. See, the other thing, you got to look at the financial impact of it. Because when it comes to the travel for athletes and that sort of thing, and the economics, you know, I don't know a whole lot about that area of it.
Yeah.
However, in developing a fan base to follow the sport,
Yeah.
that's a determining factor there. You know, with what you're doing there in India, I know we'll have a full house. You
Of
know,
course.
no doubt about it. So I'm all for the Mr. Olympia being moved to different countries. I love my international experience. I love seeing different people in different parts of the world. I mean, I came from a tiny town. Where I live, there was only probably about 70, 80 people in the town, and most of them were my relatives, you know.
80 people in a town.
About 80 people. It was that small, you know,
Damn.
man. So I love the fact of seeing different people, different cultures. It lets you know that the world is round and not flat.
Of
That
course.
all of us are the same. We want to
Of course.
live, we want to laugh, we want to enjoy our children, families. We want to play like kids on the sports field. Hey,
Of
that's
course.
wonderful.
Of course, man. Lee, also, can you share what's the website address for your certification, so people can know what it's, you know, if in case they want to get in touch with yourself or regarding any information they need about the certification. Can you share your website address?
Yes, it's IAFS, then the
IAFS?
word, IAFS,
Yeah.
and the word certification.com.
Yes. Dot.
That's
IAFS,
IAFS, the word certification.com.
certification.com.
Or they can go to leehaney.com and
Okay.
get the information and go over to the link.
Yeah. And Lee, our you know, expo, the Mumbai one is you know, scheduled to be in November as well, but because of you know, in Delhi we get around 150,000 people. In Mumbai, which is another big city, we get 200,000 people, which is scheduled in November. So post-corona, you know, guidelines from the government of India. Once we have a set date, I will send you an invitation as well for you to come India. You know, I'll make sure our dates don't cross. You know,
Okay.
it should just to make sure that you know, your show must go on, and you should be present in our show also. And it's been great fun interacting with you. We're gonna have more interactions like this, and I'm coming to Atlanta to make sure we have a very good interaction, especially in the gym and in the night with those tequilas.
Okay, now listen, don't kill me in the gym. Okay,
No,
I'm
no,
afraid
no.
as heavy as I used to.
No,
I'm a pretty
no.
boy now.
No problem, man. It will be good to learn from you. You know.
All
But,
right, my brother.
but it's been a great pleasure, you know, interacting with you, and looking forward to see you very soon, my friend.
Thank you, my brother. God bless you.
Take care. Must.
Take
Bye-bye.
care. Bye-bye.